Yo, what's up guys, it's Yoji here. So, welcome to Season 2. Today we're going to be going over all of the changes that Reina has received in terms of both buffs and nerfs. We're also going to be going over all of the new moves and stance transitions that she's received, making her toolkit that much more creative and scary. Now if you guys are new here and you guys do enjoy this type of videos, please leave a like and subscribe as it does help me a lot. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, first thing I want to talk about is her new low from both her wind step stance and her onsoku stance, which is forward neutral 4. Which is her wind step 4. Alongside these changes, you're also able to access wind step from onsoku, which also allows you to access the same low, only through a different input by inputting down 4 instead. Now this low is very, very powerful as it's only -12, making her risk very, very minimal. And on hit can go into sentai stance, leaving it at +3. And of course on counter this also offers a free guaranteed Sen 2 or a free guaranteed Sen 3. Now this low is very, very powerful as it does have quite the amount of range. As you can see, they can also able to do it from like her onsoku stance. So whenever you're just doing like a keep out move here, this is something you're definitely able to threaten with. So it's definitely a welcome addition to her kit. So for her new move from down 2 in heat, she has a new extension with down 2 1+2. This is an insane move as it sends the opponent flying away and has quite decent has quite the amount of wall time range as well. As you can see right there. So it's not the move to really sleep on. So this move comes out at 15 frames, coming out of her elbow stance, which also can go into onsoku on block in case this does get blocked. You can see right there as it forces her into onsoku stance. Now she's not able to manually choose not to enter the stance. She's always forced to go into the stance, but it still does leave her at a quite the frame advantage. This move also offers a open space spike ender, meaning that if you want to end your combo a little bit early, like a very, very powerful move, this is now a huge damage ender that you're also able to just do. So another new addition to her Wrath game is also being able to access it from her Sensei 2. So Sensei 2 has received quite the amount of changes. So the pushback on hit has been reduced, leaving a lot more further away. But now you're also able to access this Heaven's Draft stance, as you can see right there. And of course, on block, it still leaves you at -4, still making you very, very, very safe. She's also able to access the same transition off of her 2-2-2 stance, which allows her to also enter into Red stance. So it's also another way to also enter the stance. Now, this move also offers a new interesting mind game now off of Sen 2. Now we're also able to enter Wrath off of it. So now whenever someone attempts to maybe like mid-check you, you are also able to throw out the Power Crush from Wrath stance, but that does leave you at -1, which is very, very, very good. Not just that, also if someone tries to jab check you, you're also able to crush the jab with like a high crush low, like down back 4 from Wrath 1. Sorry, from Wrath 2. And not just that, if they are also like forcibly checking you all the time, you can also have the mind game of just not going into stance and then afterwards like baiting out down for 1 attack maybe and launching them for that. She's also now able to access Sen 2 for free off of her 442. So now instead of risking her life off of 442 Sen 3, she's now also able to have this as a new addition to her kit. Now because the pushback of Sen 2 has been increased a little bit, this does mean that the unbreakable grab afterwards is still able to be backdashable. But this still does allow her to do a lot of pressure, especially when she has heat. She's also able to still like still enter her ulti smash, by the way. Which now no longer even needs for you to burn your whole heat bar. And not just that, she's also able to continue her pressure afterwards. You know, building +8 into stance is still very, very, very powerful. Not just that, she's also able to frame trap you with Heaven's Draft 2+4, which now has also been buffed to also leave you at +3, which is honestly a huge change. This used to be -5 back then, used to be safe on block, but now they made it like even more significant as a pressure tool. So now she also has this as a frame trap and making her +3 on block. So alongside all these changes, she's also received a lowering of her hitbox off of her Heaven's Wrath 1. Now this move used to offer a lot of trouble back then because it used to get evaded quite a lot by a lot of moves that weren't intentionally supposed to evade it. So one of them was being like Harong's Power Crush in the situation after a Heat Burst. Whenever you attempt a Hail Sweep with Reina back then, you used to do like Heaven's Wrath 1. This used to beat her Heaven's Wrath 1. Harong's Heat Burst was the only one that did this in the game. So now whenever you run into the occurrence of someone trying to challenge you after your Hell Sweep and you try to call them out with your Heaven's Wrath 1, now it's a lot easier to get your falls afterwards compared to before. This also fixed a few situations as well, where, for example, Harong used to also be able to escape our Heaven's Wrath 1 with his 4-3 here. But this now has also been fixed. Now, back then, he used to be able to avoid almost 9% of our options with this move right here. But now, with the Heaven's Wrath 1 fix, we're now able to properly catch him. This has also fixed a lot of situations where someone tends to power crush sometimes, and they would tend to high crush our Wrath 1 option. So, for example, whenever you attempted a running 4 back then with Reina into Heaven's Wrath 1, whenever Alyssa did a power crush there, it used to fully high crush our Wrath 1 attempt there. So now that this is all has been fixed. So Wrath 1 also has received quite the amount of changes as well, whereas on regular hit, it still allows you to get a free Sen 3 or a free Wrath 1 4, which is still very, very powerful. But on counter hit, which has now been changed quite a bit. So now Wrath 1 leaves you closer on regular hit, meaning that if you want to go for a plus 14 follow-up, is now possible. But high crush, high moves are not possible from this though. So if you had, if you ever had the thought, oh hey, maybe I can get a perfect electric here, this is not possible. What you can get though is a down forward 1-2 or any like 14 frame mid or like faster than that. It also has changes so that on Wrath 1 counter hit, this no longer gives you Sen 3 anymore. So if those of you who have been spamming Wrath 1 Sen 3 like me before, this has now been a little bit of a nerf. But also allows you to now visually confirm a lot more other things, because Wrath 1 has also now allows you to access Onsoku Stance. As you can see right there, you're also able to access this by holding down or up. This means that Onsoku 4 is now also guaranteed. It also means that, if you also want to stick to the traditional way of getting her Sen 1+2 back then, this is still possible, but this also has received quite the amount of nerfs as well. So back then, you used to be able to get Wrath 1 counter hit into Sen 1+2 into free Wrath 2 for a full launcher, but this is now no longer possible. They also removed the ability to get your Wrath 4 string afterwards off of Sen 1+2, meaning that this is now no longer possible, as you can see right there. So now instead, they want you to be more encouraged to just simply burn your heat dash. Just so you're able to get your full launcher. So now, because a lot of people are also able to access both their Heat Burst and their Heat Smash from certain stances, Reina also has the same addition to her kit as well, where she's also able to access it from her Heaven's Wrath stance. So whenever you do this, now you're also able to access Heat Burst. Same thing can also be applied whenever you want to try to do a Heat Smash for whatever reason. This is now also possible. So alongside these additions, she's also received quite the property change on some of her moves. So first one being Running 4. So Running 4 received a little bit of a damage nerf, but they also added the ability to also have a strong aerial tailspin off of it, making certain combos like this possible now. She also received this off of her wall hang 3-4 move, and from her 1-2-3-4 as well, which can allow for some interesting combo changes, for example. So this can be like a little sample here. And again, just like how I mentioned earlier, if you also would like to go for an open space ender, it doesn't require you to go to the wall. You can go for something like this, for example. Which can give a lot of damage, as you can see right there. They also made a small change for her electric war god kick. So back then, whenever you just did like regular god kick with like CD3, this used to leave her a lot closer on hit, which actually, funny enough, gave her better Oki than regular electric war god kick. But this now has been changed so that both of them have the same effect now, both on regular hit and on the electric version. Of course, on counter hit, still like offering you that counter hit property. Now, another huge change for her toolkit as well has been the new addition of her forward 2-3 on counter hit. So now, if you ever like try to delay your forward 2-3 and you catch someone trying to mash on you, this now also offers you a full counter hit, also giving you Sen 2 and Sen 3. Not just that, they also finally, thank God, they've also reverted the Onsoku 4 high crush nerf. So now, if you want to call someone out on jabbing on you, you're also now able to finally do this. And because she also has a new high crush low off of her Onsoku stance now as well, she's also able to high crush with her new Onsoku low here as well, which makes for some quite the powerful mind games. So welcome back, Onsoku 4. Now, when it comes to nerfs though, this move has received a small property nerf where, for example, back then, whenever someone used to hold up after your Sen grab, 4-2-3 is no longer a possible catch now, whereas back then, whenever someone tried to like hold up to block your 2-3 here, this has now been changed. This is more of a system change because now back rolls enforce you to be able to block now. So this is more of a universal change. Although you're still able to get 4-4-2 though, if you time it correctly. Just a little bit harder now, but not much OQ to work with here anymore compared to before. She also did receive a small nerf to her Watsing 1. So her Watsing 1 back then used to have a little bit of an awkward block stun. Some people had a lot of trouble punching it. But now it's been changed to -13 instead of -10. And also they've also increased the block stun ability so that people who had a just for people to have an easier time punching it. Now on normal hit though, this still does receive the same amount of hits that we also had before. So this does allow it to get sent to now into Heaven's Rat Stance. Or if you want to enter Heat Engager, you're now also able to add that. So last thing I want to talk about is her 2-1 fix. So if you guys remember my previous video about me talking in my wishlist video, I was talking about how like in my 2-1 had a lot of inconsistencies and how although this was a decent move for tracking sidewalk left, the second hit was the second hit was able to whiff and just left you a -18 on normal hit, but this has now been fixed. So now both hits connect pretty consistently and now offers a decent packing move for sidewalk left attempts. So we're still figuring out the combos right now as we're still early into the season, but this is currently what the new sample combo can look like from her new toolkit. So yeah, that's what an open space ender looks like. You don't even need to have the wall combo there in order to do the down to 1+2 ender there, which is very, very, very powerful. Now, some of you might be wondering if her ult Heat Smash from her Rat Stance, which used to always guarantee a low floor break, they're gonna be curious if this still offers that same property, right? Or has it been changed quite a bit? And I can tell you that right now, it still offers a single hit property for floor breaks, which still is very, very powerful. But now it no longer enforces a hard floor break, meaning that you can't guarantee a floor break off of the first hit. But it's still very, very powerful low anyways. And of course, on block still is death on block. So if you're worried about it being a much more safer low, it's still death on block. So you're still able to launch punch it. Now, alongside all these new additions, she also received a new change to her 1-2-2. Now she's also able to access Onsoku off of this if she enters down or up, leaving her at +7. And because she's also able to access her 1-step move off of her Onsoku now, she's also able to access the low off of this by inputting down 4. Her 1-step 3 can also be accessed off of Onsoku by just simply pressing 3. So whenever you choose to enter Onsoku stance, just want to go for a counter hit launching frame trap here. This is also a possible thing now. So yeah, that about wraps up the new Season 2 changes. I'm personally very, very excited to see how she functioned in this new season, especially with like the Wrath 1 fixes. This has been my favorite addition to throughout this whole season. It's having his hitbox be properly functioning now. Like honestly, whenever I saw this change, I was super, super happy because there's a lot of situations in this game that we try to check people for with this move that tend to like get crushed a lot. So I'm very, very happy with this change the most, alongside just being able to access more stances as well, and alongside being I'm so used to doing key charge. All right, that about wraps up everything. If you guys did enjoy this type of videos, please leave a like, subscribe, and take care. Peace.